Dr. Jeffress, I want to just give you a few headlines, and we don't have to expound on the headlines, but your thoughts on headlines that read, Joel Rosenberg headline, U.S. and world leaders keep saying the Iran deal will bring peace and safety. Another headline, Islam to flood the West with supposed refugees. Another headline, Gog moves in next door to Israel. This is about Russia getting involved with Syria. Another headline, Wake up America, our country is upside down. That happens to be Fox News. I could go on, but, the tide of our times is such, and you and I have talked about this on air before, where you see headlines like this, you don't want to run to an event, you want to run for the hills.
Well, that is a perfect setup for what I'm talking about at your conference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what we as Christians need to be doing, this is no time, Jan, for us to be running to the hills. This is no time to build our bunkers and crawl in with our peanut butter and guns and wait for the end to come. God has given us a mission in light of these last days of exactly what we're to be doing and share the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Well, you're big on saying, and I've picked it up from you, and that is we got to delay the decay, be salt and light, delay the decay, get the gospel out while there is time. I mean, that's an important message.
Well, that's part of it, but we've also got to push back against all of this ungodliness that is infiltrating our world. One of the things that really bothers me in the church is this thinking that, well, we don't have any right to impose Christian values on a secular culture. Listen, we're to be confronting the culture. We're to be pushing back against ungodliness and immorality and lawlessness, and I believe that our country's in the shape it's in right now, Jan, not because of Barack Obama, not because of liberals, not because of atheists. It's because of Christians who have been asleep at the wheel, who have just disengaged from the process altogether. That's why we are in the shape we're in.
I want to play a soundbite of you. It's a promotion for one of your previous books, Twilight's Last Gleaming. And the only reason I'm playing it is because at the end you talk about not only Americans being discouraged, but you talk about redeeming the time. And this is an interview of you. So again, it's not a current interview. It may be 3 years old. It's not that long ago. But I'd like to get your response after we play this.
I don't believe in recent history Americans have ever been more discouraged, more angry, more apprehensive about the future. Moral relativism, economic chaos, terrorist threats have convinced many people that America's best days are behind her, that we're in the twilight of America's existence. Twilight's Last Gleaming is a call for Christians to stand up and push back against unrighteousness.
As the pastor of a thriving church in Dallas, Jeffress is attuned to the concerns facing Christian Americans, hardworking citizens who long for a healthy future for their families.
We can make these last days the best days for America and for our lives, but most importantly, the best days for the kingdom of God.
I think that's what's important, the best days for the kingdom of God. And can you elaborate on that for just a moment?
Well, again, I'm going to follow your warning not to, give away the candy.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
But look, the light shines brightest in the darkness.
Sure.
And let's leave it at that. As this world gets darker and darker, what a marvelous opportunity we have to share the light of Jesus Christ. And we need to see it that way. One of the things I said in that's even more true today is about the discouragement a lot of Christians feel. I talked about this on O'Reilly the other night, and I think it really explains a lot of the interest of evangelicals in Donald Trump. Now, again, I'm not supporting Donald Trump, but I am explaining why people would gravitate toward someone like Mr. Trump. I think the same-sex marriage ruling a few months ago was a gut punch, Jan, to a lot of evangelical Christians. It almost signaled the loss of the culture war, at least on the governmental level. And I think there's some evangelicals who are saying, okay, if we can't depend upon government to uphold moral principles, if we've lost in that arena, then why don't we just look to government to solve practical problems and allow the church to deal with these moral issues and bring about the spiritual revival we need? And if we just need government to solve practical problems, then maybe we don't need a spiritual giant. We just need a problem solver. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that, Jan. I'm saying I think that discouragement at having lost such a significant battle like the marriage issue and the abortion issue with Roe Roe v. Wade, I think it may explain why people are willing, even Christians, to move to a more secular political candidate.
Well, if I could be so bold as to play a short clip of you with Hannity, this was about 3 weeks ago. You say that the bar has been lowered so because of the last 7 years. Let me just a very short soundbite. I want to play it and discuss this with you.
Dr. Jeffers, I always feel uncomfortable getting into deeply held religious views of people or candidates. Ronald Reagan didn't go to church on a regular basis as president. People criticized him. I understand that decision because he doesn't want to put other people in harm's way in any way, doesn't want to be a distraction. I'm not so sure I'm comfortable about a debate like this on religion.
And I understand that. You know, the fact is, if 2016 were any other year, Trump would be toast with evangelicals right now for some of the things he said, and other evangelical candidates would be topping the polls. But I think this year is different, Sean. I think there is a palpable feeling among evangelicals that this country has been in a downward death spiral since the time of Barack Obama, and 2016 may be the last time to reverse that trend. And while in a perfect world, evangelicals would like a candidate who is a committed Christian and a competent leader, I think if they have to make a choice this time around, they're going to leave religion out of it and go for the person they think is a competent leader like Trump.
He said his favorite book is the Bible. He said he reads the Bible. Yeah. He said he is affiliated with the church. He doesn't go that often to the church. He's pro-life. He's on issues that are important to you. He explained how he changed his view on abortion. I assume you take him at his word. You're going to meet with him about this very issue, right?
He has called for a meeting of a small group of evangelical leaders to hear our concerns, and I applaud him for doing that. And look, Sean, 7 years of Barack Obama have so lowered the threshold of what we evangelicals are looking for in a president. We no longer require a president to be one of us. We just want one who doesn't hate us like Barack Obama does. No, so it's a whole different field in 2016.
Yeah, who doesn't hate us, Dr. Jeffers, but not only that, who doesn't push legislation that is so anti-biblical.
Well, that's true. And again, personally, Jan, I'm looking for in a president somebody who is the most competent leader available, but who is also a committed Christian.
Sure.
I understand why some evangelicals are separating the two and say, well, if we have to have one or the other, I think you can find both, and that's what I'm looking for. And I think there is a great value in having a committed Christian who lives his values as a leader. But being a Christian isn't enough to qualify you for the Oval Office. It needs to be somebody who's also a tremendous leader with a great proven track record. Great